Peak Design isn't a company that just makes gear, it re-engineers categories. They started with a simple camera clip from Kickstarter in 2011, and they've since revolutionized backpacks, tripods, mobile carry. Now they've finally set their sights on a category that every single traveler cares about, the carry-on luggage roller bag. Based in San Francisco, they are 100% crowdfunded and employee-owned B Corp. They don't have shareholders, they have avid users and a community that just absolutely loves their design innovation and the features that they bring to bear. And their DNA as a company is to be design first, or feature forward, if you will. And they often bring these new features to the market that as an end user, you find completely irresistible to use, and you had absolutely no idea that you needed to have in your life. This is the Roller Pro. Built from a 400D, 100% recycled nylon. You can hear what it feels like, if you will, or hear what it sounds like as I'm feeling the bag. It almost feels or has that kind of leathery feel to it, surprisingly, as you're touching it. That's the sense I get, even though I know it's not leather, right? It is 100% recycled nylon, like I said. Overall, it is same dimension and spec that you've come to know and expect from any roller or carry-on luggage. It is that perfect size and weight as you're thinking about, I need a quick 3 to 5 day bag, put a bunch of clothes in, and really go about my travels, my 3 to 5 day, my weekend travel, whatever it is. This ends up being the perfect bag. With that 400D recycled nylon, it is rugged, sleek, got AquaGuard zips all along the backpack. So there's no zipper that is not an AquaGuard zip, which is fantastic. Really allows you to have peace of mind for anything that's in the bag, especially because this is designed to be integratable with their camera cubes that you can really just put in or drop into the bag and start using. They're made to fit perfectly into this roller, their other travel bags, so on and so forth. They're supposed to be interchangeable. When you've got camera gear in here in particular, you want to make sure that it feels secure, that no water at all is going to be getting in. So having that peace of mind, making sure everything's aqua sealed, and that you've got that kind of waterproofing in the material itself, really good. It's just second to none. Additionally, when you take this bag, this is collapsed. This is currently collapsed, but this zipper along the middle here is actually an expandability zipper. So just give you a preview of what that looks like. We'll open it up once we get in the bag, but again, that same nylon material in here, that is that waterproof material. So a lot of times when you do expand a bag, what you find is it's this kind of like different material. Let's say you use a large away bag, for example, right? You've got that polycarbonate plastic on the outside. And when you expand, it's a different nylon on the inside, right? So you have different materials to deal with. You don't necessarily know if that inside material, that expanded material, is going to meet that waterproof requirement. Like I said, standard dimensions, this is like 35, 38 liters when it's collapsed, about 45 liters when it is wide open or when you use that expandability bit. Overall, again, fits all the things that you might need in a 3 to 5, 6 day trip. Well, if you're using packing cubes, you can get a few more days out of it, of course, but that's standard carry-on roller luggage size. Just one thing to note, especially for those folks who are a little bit more concerned with weight, maybe you want to use it as a one bag travel bag, so you're going to be putting a computer and other things in there. The bag by itself is about 7.5 pounds. So just a little heavier than other bags in the category. Again, think of Away, Rimowa, any of those types of bags, roughly similar price, maybe a little more expensive, a little less expensive, right? Similar price, similar size, similar promise to the market. When you look at those bags, right, and what they offer, they're going to be 5.5, 6 pounds. You can get them in different materials, right? But that polycarbonate plastic in particular, super, super, super light. This is going to be a bit heavier than that. Should not necessarily be a problem. I find that my roller luggage, I rarely have to check. And if I do, they're not necessarily concerned with the weight. So shouldn't be a big issue unless the added couple of pounds is really like too much on your own personal shoulders or something to be able to lift it up. All right, let's get into the things that I love. And we're actually going to start at the very bottom of the bag with the thing that all of us on our roller luggage use the absolute most, no matter what we think, right? It is the wheels. So these wheels are some form, if I remember correctly from their website, of black magic that makes them entirely frictionless. I cannot explain how smooth these wheels are. When they say that they actually glide along the floor, they truly mean it. These things, zero friction as you're going through an airport, carpeting, doesn't matter. Now, of course, obviously like on gravel or something, these smaller wheels, of course, right? They're not always gonna hold up. That is uniform across the board though, not something unique to Peak Design, for example. Complete black magic. Cannot explain it. I have no idea how they get it to glide like this. I have no idea how they get it to be so frictionless, but top tier design out of the wheel itself. And then if you look at the actual like basin for the wheel, or like where it sits, it's also a little bit elevated here, right? So it gives you this extra room. When you're thinking about the entirety of the bag, right? The dimensions top to bottom, it gives you a little bit of extra room actually as you're thinking about how you pack it, because when you think of those standard dimensions, right? If you were to drop it into that case that sits, you know, where all of the luggage, or like as you're checking into any flight, right? If you were to think about that, the wheel's taking up 3-4 inches at the bottom, right? That's 3 or 4 inches that you could really have in the bag. So when you look at this design specifically, right, where it sits inside the bag, gives you maybe that like additional inch, maybe inch and a half or so of additional space that you can use directly in the bag. And last thing I'll say about the wheels, because it's just so apparent as you're using them, they are quiet as a mouse. Just dead silence when you're using them, which is incredible. All right, moving on to the inside of the bag. The way that this is structured, right? I'm gonna go through all the different functions inside the bag, but the way this is structured, right? You've got double zip from the top, goes to roughly the bottom here, so comes along the side. And then you've got this drawstring opening. Get this more in the light. It's got these 2 drawstrings that are attached at the top here. So it keeps the bag, or the top of the bag, from flopping all the way over. This is a really nice feature if you're trying to use this as a one bag, right? Because ultimately in this top compartment, or in this main lid compartment, if you will, right? There's room for your laptop, there's room for your wallet, your phone, all that stuff, right? So you don't want it just flopping over. It could be kind of heavy on top of that, right? You don't want it just hitting the ground, again, with your laptop and other nice tech potentially being in that compartment. So this drawstring mechanism that they have here, and again, we'll just get a little deeper into it, right? This drawstring mechanism that they have here, right? It's this clamp, if you will, this really nice plastic, big plastic clamp, and then these actual drawstring pieces that are attached to the lid or the lip of the bag. I am fully packed out. I am headed for a 5-day trip, so you can see it is fully packed out, not expanded, however. I also bring a secondary bag with me, so all the tech and stuff that you might put in this front compartment, you can consider being in another bag for me. So let's get some of this stuff out of here. Of course, jacket, going to a conference, second jacket for the nice dinners and whatnot. Got my toiletry kit. Don't need to necessarily go into that. Also Peak Design, love this Coyote X-Pack. One of my favorite colorways that comes from Peak Design. I think they make one of the prettiest Coyotes. And then this toiletry kit, or DOP kit, is fantastic. Super tiny, fits a ton of stuff, has a little hanger on it. Really good DOP kit. Going back, a couple pairs of socks. You can see I'm not the most organized traveler. I always call myself a bougie traveler. So if you're somebody who like needs tips and tricks on one bag travel, you're on the wrong channel. I'm sorry. You gotta go find Taylor or those guys from Pack Hacker or whatever. I think they'll be a lot more helpful for you. I'm gonna be doing stuff like this, multiple pairs of socks, stuff inside of shoes and whatnot. I'm just a bougie traveler. Keep going here. I got my Tecovas loafers, which I absolutely love. I stuff them with socks. I often stuff my extra pair of shoes with socks, underwear, that type of thing, just to get them out of the way and to keep my shoes in their kind of form, especially those nicer shoes. Rest of this is pretty simple. Got one sweatshirt for working out, packing cubes, 2 of them, In the packing cubes, this one's for boundary, you know, button downs, corresponding white tees, things like that, shorts, workout gear, all gonna be going in my packing cubes. This is the one from Wandered, I think is their large one. Love this one. Again, just like regular day-to-day, 5 days of clothes. And then last but not least, I also have my absolute favorite pair of travel workout shoes. These are from Allbirds, super light. And then you can just do this to them. So they take up such a minimal amount of space. If you're somebody who's really committed to running, going to the gym, any of that stuff as you're on the road, I would honestly say these are a perfect pair of additional shoes to bring. Of course, if you just wear your sneakers to wherever you're going and put nicer shoes in here, more power to you. All right, so taking a quick look at the inside of the bag, as you can see, there's nothing super special about this. A couple things that I do want to call out though. Of course, nice big open container. They have these drawstrings on the inside. These are meant to be kind of cinch down straps as you have more and more gear in here. I'll be honest with the cinch down straps, I haven't found them to be super useful. I think the way they're integrated is interesting. It's a different way of doing it. However, I haven't found them to be super useful for all of my clothes and things like that necessarily. I often find myself still just kind of like sitting on the bag if it's a little too full and the zipper's done the old school way. The next thing that you'll notice if you're looking in here, right? So at the bottom, you can see kind of the wheel basins here. So they do take up a little bit of space on the inside. That's kind of the trade-off that you get for getting this extra room at the bottom here. And then additionally, and this is something we're gonna go into for the Roller Pro, you can see that the amount of space that's actually taken up by the handles or by the roller mechanism is really slim, which is fantastic in any roller bag. If you've used one, you know kind of the problems, if you will, of trying to get your stuff in there and origami stuff or Tetris stuff around these different poles. These two, you still have to do that a little bit, but they're so much thinner and closer to the actual back of the bag that it's so much easier to just fill this up and not necessarily have to worry about that bulk or putting a shoe or whatever, right? Like specifically in those little troughs, if you will, that are created by those two grab handles, the scoping mechanism. All right, now on the lip part of the bag, it also has a bunch of organization, which is fantastic. You can see these slip pockets here, these see-through slip pockets. Definitely easy to put things like smaller tech, flat tech in here. You could put socks, underwear, that type of thing in here as well, of course. You've got 3 of them across this part of the bag. And then additionally, this portion of the bag opens up to be some additional storage. So I put things like my underwear in here, mostly because it is perfectly sized from a width perspective to take something like underwear or a couple t-shirts, things that you still need to pack, but you need to be a little more out of the way or they take up space in the main compartment. They can easily flatten out and just take up the space in a compartment like this. So probably not the original intention of that portion of the bag, but to each their own. Everybody uses their gear the way that they use it, the way that they need to use it for the gear that they have. This is the way I'm using it. I would love to see or hear about how you guys are changing it up a little. All right, and the last thing that I'll mention, and this is, like I said, right, like a one bag travel bag. So what they've done to integrate or help integrate for one bag travel is they also have this quick access compartment across the top. So just sits in front of the main access compartment here. So you got those zippers, this one right in front of them, right? And then if you fold this down, you can see you've got a couple of additional slip pockets here, right? There's a little bit of division here, stitched in divider, right? And you've just got these 2 slip pockets. So just to show, put in my wallet, put in my cell phone, got a little key leash in here. If you do want to throw your keys as you're leaving your house or whatever, just leave them in your bag and not have to lose them. This key leash is super nice. And then lastly, and I think this part is actually pretty cool, again, because of the way that this is integrated, right? If you remember, my underwear is sitting right behind this portion of the bag, but there's still room if you take this lip and fold it out, there's still room for a laptop in this compartment here. So what I showed where my underwear was its own layer. There's a divider there, and then this laptop compartment sits on top of that as well, right? So Lots of separation in this bag, lots of different compartmenting. Again, if you want to use this as a one bag travel machine, you absolutely can, right? This is built for that every situation. You've got the bag for the need, right? You need to carry a laptop and some extra tech, no problem. You need to carry your camera, no problem. You need to carry extra camera gear, no problem. You need to carry camera gear and clothing and tech, no problem. This is the one bag for that person who has a really diverse set of carry that they need to bring with them on a really regular basis. All right, and the last thing that I just absolutely love about this bag, and it's something that, just given my setup, is gonna be a little bit difficult to show, but here we go. All right, got the bag. Here is the handle mechanism. Pull the handle out, of course, goes just as high or has those drop points like any other bag. So it's got, I think, 2 drop points, just like every other bag. But when you look at this, the actual handles, right, or the scoping of these handles, and then you turn it sideways, they are razor thin compared to another bag in the category. This is, like, I can't explain how good those 2 scoped handles are. They're not only really, really razor thin, because they're made of carbon fiber. And again, if you're familiar with Peak Design, you know they have a carbon fiber tripod that is wildly popular with the market. It's wildly popular because it is so well built. It is so remarkably sturdy. It is so easy to put your camera on there and feel like you have peace of mind by using that tripod specifically. These handles, this carbon fiber that they used, I don't want to say it's recycled. It's not exactly the same shape or anything like that, right? But it's definitely the same material. It's definitely the same design ethos, if you will, around what it takes to have something that's razor thin, but also just incredibly sturdy and incredibly strong. There is literally no give in these. No give. It is so hard. This is fully telescoped out, and I'm barely getting like maybe half an inch out of give from the whole thing moving, right? The lower that you telescope it, right, the less give you're even gonna get on top of that. I have found that no matter how heavy I pack the bag, no matter how heavy the bag is that I put on top of it, right, my secondary bag, no issues with either the wheels or the handle. Incredible design leaps for the roller bag category. If you've used any roller bag, you know exactly what I'm talking about with the right? As your bag's weight is shifting, it feels like pulling your wrist in each direction. There is none of that with the roller bag. It is, like I said, a remarkable design achievement. And as an end user, it's something that you truly feel as you're using the bag, right? The wheels and the remarkable sturdiness of the handle. All right, moving on to the things that I would improve or maybe change. I'm not gonna lie, even though I was just talking about it has this one bag mechanism, this mastery, this whole thing is not for me, right? I don't want any of this kind of. I think most people, if I'm looking at when I'm traveling in the airport, the vast majority of people I see have a duffel or a roller and a backpack or a tote or a duffel, right? They very rarely have just that one bag. And if they do, more often than not, I think people lean backpack more than they lean roller if they are gonna go for that one bag travel mechanism, right? Especially if you're going to airports, right? There's no guarantee you're even gonna have room for that one bag, right? So if you've got your laptop and other tech inside of it, and then they make you check it, that could be detrimental, right? So I'm never willing to take that risk. I've usually put all my tech in my backpack, something I know I can keep on my person. And then I leave these roller bags for clothing, gifts, other big items that I know I'm not gonna need either on the flight, or if they lose my bag, it's not gonna destroy my whole trip. Now, the other thing I dislike, I actually already mentioned a little bit earlier, and that is this drawstring mechanism on the inside. This I found to be, again, fairly useless for me. I don't know if I just maybe didn't use it well enough or if I wasn't thinking about how to use it the right way, right? But functionally, I didn't find it to be that useful. Maybe, again, I'll try again, I'll keep trying, right? It even just sits kind of low in the bag, right? So if you could look at it here, it's sitting in, there's probably maybe 2 inches of bag up here above the drawstring mechanism, right? So if you're thinking about that, right, if I've got it packed to the brim or above the brim, Now I'm really trying to reach in to get this drawstring up and over and then clasp it over on this other side. It's like a nice to have, right? I like that it's here. I just haven't found it to be that useful. So overall, I would love to see maybe some improvements in V2, maybe have it collapse from the back or something, or from the top, and just go over the entirety of the bag, cinch down. I don't know what the right thing is here. I'm not, like I mentioned before, I'm not a designer, I'm not a bag designer. I am a voracious bag user, and I can tell you almost certainly that I would bet 10% of the people who have this bag use this drawstring, maybe even less. And that's me just pulling a number out of my ass, just to be clear. All right, so $600 bag, no question. It's on the expensive side. You can get plenty of roller bags for $100, Samsonite $150, right? All the way up through over $1,000, like an aluminum clamshell, you know, something like that, right? There are so many versions of roller bags. I would say this sits in the premium-ish bucket, right? It's not exactly consumer, but it is on the premium side. So with that in mind, if you're the type of person who is a road warrior, somebody who's on the road, I would say 2 to 4 times a month at minimum, this might be the bag that you want to start looking at. It has awesome features. It has enough space to last you that 5-6 days without packing cubes, right? And then it is just a joy to use as an end user, as somebody who's at the airport quite a lot. It is just an absolute joy to use those wheels and that handle. So you find yourself on the road a lot, I would highly recommend this bag as something that you at least look at. Now, additionally, and I know I've said this kind of back and forth, right? It's not for me in this way. I'm not a one bag person, but if you are a one bag person and that bag can be a roller for you, I'm not sure that you have anywhere else to look necessarily. There are really great bags that have those front compartments, that have that tech compartment, if you will. I haven't seen something that I have liked the integration of so much as I have with the Peak Design Roller Pro. If you are somebody who's a one bag warrior, this is just another kind of feather in the cap of the Roller Pro, where you are going to be supremely happy with the output of the bag. Now, obviously on the other side of this, if you don't travel that much, if you aren't interested in spending $600, if you've got a roller that is perfectly good and works for all of your needs, you're not going to look at this over-engineered Roller Pro from Peak Design. There are remarkable features in it, but there's no feature that is a complete deal breaker. Like, I can't have it, I can't travel without this, right? It's really more of that luxury travel item. And if you're in that category, if you're somebody who wants to travel like that or can travel like that, by all means get it. If you've got something that works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I would love to know what everybody thinks about the Peak Design Roller Pro in the comments below. Let me know if you've used it, if you have not used it and you just have thoughts, or if you have alternatives that maybe I haven't mentioned or thought of today that I should try out. I'd love to hear about any of those things in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, get notified so you can see all the new videos from your boy. And with that, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.